Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling completely drained, not because you were wrong, not because you lost the argument, but because no matter how clear your facts were, no matter how logical your explanation sounded, the other person refused to listen? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most arguments aren't battles of intelligence. They're battles of ego. And the smarter you are, the more likely you are to fall into a trap that wastes your time, energy, and focus. Today, we're going to explore why intelligent people often struggle with irrational people, what philosophers like Schopenhauer understood about human nature, and how the most effective minds protect themselves from pointless conflicts without sacrificing their peace. Most people assume that if they present enough evidence, enough logic, or enough facts, others will eventually change their minds. It sounds reasonable. After all, that's how intelligent people tend to think. They examine information, compare different perspectives, and adjust their beliefs when new evidence appears. But here's the problem. Many people don't form beliefs through logic in the first place. They form beliefs through emotion, identity, pride, and personal experience. Logic comes later, often serving as a defense mechanism rather than a path toward truth. This creates a frustrating mismatch. One person enters a discussion hoping to understand reality more clearly. The other enters hoping to protect their existing worldview. The result is predictable. No matter how strong the evidence becomes, the conversation goes nowhere, and the intelligent person leaves feeling exhausted. Schopenhauer believed that one of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming everyone values truth as much as they do. In reality, many arguments are not about discovering what's correct. They're about status. They're about pride. They're about avoiding the discomfort of being wrong. When someone's identity becomes attached to an opinion, challenging that opinion can feel like a personal attack. At that point, facts stop mattering. The conversation becomes emotional rather than rational. And that's exactly why some people seem impossible to convince. Not because they can't understand the information, because accepting it would require them to admit something uncomfortable about themselves. The smartest people eventually learn something that changes everything. Not every argument deserves your participation. Think about how much energy people waste trying to win debates online, prove a point to a stubborn coworker, or convince someone who has already decided not to listen. Hours disappear, stress builds, nothing changes. Meanwhile, truly successful people are focused elsewhere. They're building businesses, learning skills, creating opportunities, improving their lives. While others are arguing, they're moving forward. That's a powerful distinction. Winning an argument rarely changes your future. Protecting your time often does. One of the most underrated forms of intelligence is knowing when to stop explaining yourself. Many people feel a constant need to justify every decision, defend every opinion, and respond to every criticism. But consider this. Why are you seeking validation from someone who has already decided not to understand you? Why give strangers, co-workers, or acquaintances control over your emotional state? The moment you stop needing everyone to agree with you, something interesting happens. You become harder to manipulate, harder to provoke, harder to distract. You stop chasing approval and start focusing on outcomes. And outcomes matter far more than arguments. This doesn't mean becoming arrogant. It doesn't mean assuming you're always right. In fact, Truly intelligent people are often the first to admit when they're wrong. What it means is recognizing that your attention is valuable. Every minute spent in a pointless conflict is a minute that could have been invested somewhere more meaningful. The most successful minds treat attention like a precious resource. They don't hand it out freely. They protect it, they guard it, and they invest it carefully. Because they understand a simple reality. Energy spent on endless debates rarely creates results. Energy spent on growth almost always does. There's another lesson hidden here. Not everyone needs to be changed. This idea is difficult for many people to accept. We naturally want to help others. We want them to see what we see. We want them to avoid mistakes. But every person is responsible for their own choices. You can offer guidance. You can share knowledge. You can provide evidence. But you cannot force understanding. At some point, wisdom means accepting that some people will learn only through experience, and some may never learn at all. The moment you accept this reality, you stop carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. The people who achieve extraordinary things are rarely the loudest voices in the room. They're usually the calmest, the most focused, the least interested in proving themselves to everyone around them. They understand that being right and being effective are two different things. Being right wins arguments. Being effective changes lives. And if given the choice, effective people choose results every single time. Conclusion. The next time you find yourself trapped in a frustrating conversation, ask yourself one question. Am I trying to discover the truth, or am I trying to force someone else to accept it? Because those are very different goals. The first can lead to growth. The second often leads to frustration. The strongest minds aren't the ones that win every debate. They're the ones that know where their energy belongs. And once you stop trying to convince everyone, you'll discover something surprising. Peace is far more valuable than proving a point. And your future is built by what you create, not by the arguments you win,